All right, so I've been like looking through just the couple of images that have leaked for this Resident Evil 3. Apparently, there was a big leak on the PlayStation Store. This was not leaked by like a leaker or like some employee. I think this was like some kind of like some error. I don't know if it was the PlayStation Store's part or if it was like Capcom or something like that. Somebody didn't do the job right, basically. So they leaked the Resident Evil 3 stuff. So I wanted to get into it real quick, kind of give my quick takes on it, and call it a day. I'm a big Resident Evil fan. It's in my top three. Everybody knows that. It goes Castlevania, Final Fantasy, Resident Evil. So naturally, I'm going to talk about this. And I've still got the collector's edition for Resident Evil 2 Remake back there with my big Leon statue. So I'm excited. Now, Resident Evil 3 is not my favorite Resident Evil game for a few different reasons, but I'm not getting into that right now. Let's get into the pictures here real quick. First, I'm going to start off here with the cover. Boom. Yeah, it's a pretty killer cover. Now, Jill Valentine's my favorite Resident Evil character, bar none. Some of my favorite Resident Evil moments have come with Jill scenes and Jill in the game and the whole Master of Unlocking and all that. Even Revelations was dope. That was a good game. It was very claustrophobic. Her in Remake 1 was I really enjoyed her in Remake 1. But I'm going to be honest with you, man. When I first saw this picture, I was excited. But then I was instantly kind of like not excited. But I'm excited again. I've been kind of looking at this throughout the day. This version of Jill here, it kind of took me aback a little bit because I'm a big fan of the Julia Voth kind of facial rendering of her that they started using in Resident Evil 1 Remake. And they used it in Resident Evil 5. They used it in Resident Evil Revelations and subsequent versions of her. But with the RE system, or the RE engine that they use, of course, it's going to look more like the actress portraying them or whatever, for better or worse. But the more I look at this, the more it's growing on me. So I don't really have a problem with it. The cool thing is Carlos looks really cool, man. I think he looks a lot better. I like his kind of shaggy hair, and he looks like a cool dude. He looks like a cool character, man. Now, Nemesis up here. Nemesis fucking freaky, y'all. I mean, I think this is a big upgrade over his old. Now I love his old look. Don't get me wrong. His old look is iconic. Anybody that was a gamer in the PS1 era, or anybody that was a gamer ever or still is or whatever, you see Nemesis, that's Nemesis. That is, even if you never played Resident Evil, you're like, that's Nemesis. I think this holds kind of true to that in a way. He's still got the big staples in his head here. Let's see here. See if I can zoom in a little bit. Yeah. He's still got like the staples in his head. He's still got the ripped flesh and everything. He just doesn't have the scar and the marking going down the middle of his face. And the nose, man. Look at this nose. It's all crooked and everything. And these long teeth. I mean, it's just really this weird mutated looking brick shithouse zombie. That's what this looks like. He's got the tech. He's still got the tube. He doesn't have the big, like almost organic looking tube on him anymore, but he's got the smaller one. And this is probably some kind of life support system or whatever. And it's also got like this like a little wire, like this Ethernet cable running here. But that makes sense. It sounds like I'm joking, but that makes sense because like he's supposed to be gathering battle data. The Umbrella is supposed to be using him to hunt down stars as like a training sim for him. So that's pretty cool, and it would make sense that he has to route data back to some kind of server because someone back at the base is kind of keeping tabs on all of this, his goings on, his activities. They kind of touched on it in the movie a little bit. They expounded on it a little bit more in the movie, even though that movie wasn't very good. Resident Evil Apocalypse, it wasn't very good, but they do kind of expound on that kind of theory there. Now, again, I'm not the biggest Resident Evil 3 Nemesis fan. Resident Evil 2 is my favorite. Resident Evil Remake is right underneath that. And then you've got like Resident Evil 4, of course, and probably Code Veronica, but this is probably 4th or 5th or something like that. But yeah, this is a really dope redesign on him. I mean, it looks sick. This looks so cool, man. And like all the little caution labels and stuff all over him, it's like, that's kind of weird, but at the same time, it's kind of wild. Like you can kind of see like it fades off into this gradient right here, but you can kind of see like the top of his jacket, like these little metal like pumps and stuff that are underneath, and the torn and ripped skin. It's like he definitely has that bioweapon meets zombie kind of look, you know, and it's really cool. So, and then wrong way. Then down here, I think Carlos looks great. Jill's growing on me. Jill's, like I said though, Jill's my favorite Resident Evil character. So I'm naturally going to be a little bit harder on her look just because I want it to be right. But it's growing on me, and I don't hate it. I know that when you do a remake, when you do newer stuff, things are going to change. I'm not like so stuck to things that I can't evolve with something. So it's already growing on me. So I'm sure once you get into the game, and I'm sure the characters are going to be the same and all that kind of stuff. So, but Jill's a badass. Jill's a badass character. Jill's a very cool character. All the Resident Evil ladies are badasses, which is cool, and but they also have their own kind of character to them. You know, that they're not just like an action movie, generic action movie star or whatever. You know, I mean, there's a deep character behind them. They have motivations and stuff like that, and their reason for having to be a badass in these situations. So that's good stuff. I like what I've seen here. This picture here, this is a good picture I found online that somebody on Twitter had done. This shows kind of like the comparison to the old Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. And to be honest, I didn't recall them looking this good. Those old PS1 CG models, I don't recall them looking really this good, especially the Carlos one. But it definitely, I like that this version of Carlos looks a little more gruff, looks a little more seasoned, like he's seen a little more combat. You know what I mean? He looks like a dude who's seen some action. And she's beaten up a little bit here too, naturally, of course. But this version of her right here, you know, it's pretty close. She doesn't have the tube top, but that's not really functional for this situation. I mean, she would have on like more of a tank top like this or something like that. This is more sporty looking, I think, and I think that makes more sense for the situation that she's in, obviously. And I never was a fan of this character design, really. This is a vast improvement. I am excited. I didn't like Carlos in Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. I didn't. But, you know, I'm excited to play as him in this now because of this change. He looks more seasoned. He looks like he's seen some shit. He looks like he can do some damage. He looks like he is a confident guy you would want at your back in this situation. So I'm super cool with that. So this right here, this is a good looking shot, man. This looks like it's a screen cap from a movie. It really does. Apparently this is one of the leaked images from the game, or the trailer that we're about to get, supposedly. This right here is cool. It's still growing on me a little bit, but I'm open to where it's going. I'm looking forward to it. My hype level for this announcement isn't where it was with Resident Evil 2, because we've kind of known Resident Evil 3 was going to happen. Like, we didn't know, but there's been a lot of sources coming out saying Resident Evil 3 Nemesis is going to happen, the remake is going to happen. And I think it was like a month or two ago, somebody said something was about to drop and it didn't. But there's been like little, since Resident Evil 2 came out in January, there's been little Easter eggs and little nods and little tidbits and little breadcrumbs here and there saying that this is going to happen. So I'm not shocked that it happened. I was actually, honestly, expecting something to happen probably at the Game Awards or some announcement somewhere around the end or beginning of end of this year, beginning of 2020. So I wasn't shocked. So my hype level isn't super crazy for this right now, but it is up there. It is up there. 2020. I'm telling you what. I think this will probably come out in 2020. The turnaround for Resident Evil 2 remake was really quick. I think this is coming 2020. I think it's probably gonna be fall, late summer, fall. But I think it's gonna happen. Man, there's a lot of games coming out next year. A lot of great games coming out next year. Of course, Final Fantasy VII Remake's coming out. You got Last of Us 2. You got a slew of other things, and then you've got this. I mean, it's gonna be a good time, y'all. We're gonna have a good time next year. So, and of course, this right here, this is the Julia Voth version of Jill Valentine. If you all didn't know exactly what I was talking about, this is what I was talking about right here. This version of her, my favorite version, but we'll see how it goes. Also, I noticed something in that new Jill design. You got the Stars logo. You got the Stars shield right here. We go up and we zoom in down here on her waist. Boom. We've got the Stars shield right there. Boom. There it is. Her badge and everything right there. Super cool. Nice little attention to detail. And I really hope that we get I hope we get more Stars stuff that's like more getting to know some Stars team members, because this won't be as secluded as Resident Evil 2. Like, shit's gonna be hitting the fan in this game. Like, I hope we get to see the outbreak in this game. I hope we get to see the outbreak, what led to it, some of the characters that are lost in the outbreak. You know what I mean? Some of the Stars members, some of the police station, just maybe some of the people around town, or whatever, just running the initial zombie outbreak. I mean, it's going to be crazy. So there's a lot they can cover in this, and I hope that they get to explore more of Raccoon City. Like, I was hoping we would get to explore more of Raccoon City in Resident Evil 2 Remake. We didn't get to as much as I thought we would. We got a little bit more, but it was just a little bit more. This, I hope they go balls to the wall with this. Increase the areas you can go to, increase, just the level of, because there's more people around in this game. This is before everybody's dead. There's more people around in this game. There's more people to kind of get to know and watch them die, basically. Of course, you've got your main characters that are going to get out and all that kind of thing. But you can feel the story a little bit more with some things in this game in particular, because it's not as secluded as Resident Evil 2 is. And Resident Evil 2 honestly is a creepier, scarier game, I think. But there's a lot they can do with Resident Evil 3 and Nemesis here, especially now that we've got better technology, better things we can do with the character. I mean, there's so much you can do with Nemesis now. And this is a little screenshot I saw. Apparently, this is a leaked image as well. And this is, to me, this looks like it's out front of the the RPD, the Raccoon City Police Department. And this is, of course, the tentacle right here. Is this maybe where Brad Vickers gets it? The helicopter pilot from Resident Evil 1. This could be where Vickers gets it. But if they even go into that, they could do a complete new retelling. We don't know exactly what they're going to do. But this looks really cool. One thing I hope they do is capitalize on the new technology with Nemesis. I've always thought that a really cool thing to do with Nemesis would have been to have some shots, like in Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, you get conditioned to just being on the edge of your seat. You get conditioned to, okay, I'm in this room, it feels comfortable, I'm going to hear stars, and I'm going to have to run. Now, you get conditioned to that in the game, which is cool. Back then it worked, it was scary, but now I feel like you need to do more. You would have to do more. I mean, that would be, don't get me wrong, it'd be scary as shit. Like, him chasing you through the halls. You hear like stars, like in. I think they're gonna do some different stuff with him. To me, what would be creepy as hell is like if you had a situation where you're on the rain-soaked streets of Raccoon City, right? And it's like it's raining, and you got like light from fire, and you got light from other stuff, and you just see his silhouette, just his silhouette sitting on top of a building, just watching you, just like almost like stalking you. You know what I mean? Like the terror and the horror from him doesn't always have to come with him just like running after you with a rocket launcher and a rail gun. You know, it could be like you be walking along and you be noticing some scenery, and the producers can draw your eye to a certain thing, and then boom, there he is just watching you. That is some turn it off and go to bed shit. That is some turn it off and turn on a happy show for a little while, get it out of your mind kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Get creative with it. Nemesis is an iconic, not just gaming, but horror character. He is a horrifying character within the realms of gaming, and he's even kind of like, people who run in like certain horror rings and they're into horror movies and stuff. They know Nemesis, man. Get creative with this character. Get creative with what you can do with this thing. And also something as a storyteller, I would like to see is like, as you're going through the game, you find files on Nemesis, you find files on just how are you going to have to beat this thing? Where do you have to lure it to? Whatever, you know what I mean? Get creative with it. Do it different than you did in the original Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. And then maybe you see some video of whoever this once was being experimented on. Maybe maybe they do a twist. Maybe it's someone from the Resident Evil timeline or the lore. You know what I mean? Maybe they make it one of the, one of the Bravo team members, or maybe one of the Alpha team members, of STARS. And who better to hunt down STARS than a member of STARS? That brain is still in there. I mean, that's not going to happen, but that's just where my brain's going with it. Get creative with it, I'm excited. This is just something else to get excited about for next year. I love that a lot of people are kind of bagging that they're remaking old games. I love it because a lot of these old games are just classics, and they had to work with what they had at the time, and they couldn't tell the full story they wanted to tell. Now they can. Now they can remake these games, and they're cranking them out left and right, and they're awesome. The Resident Evil 2, it wasn't a perfect game, but it was awesome. I mean, it was probably my goatee last year. It really was. I mean, I voted for it to be the game of the year this year, for 2019. I thought it was awesome. It wasn't without its flaws. The pacing wasn't great, but a lot of backtracking, more than I care for. But I thought it was awesome. That you could recreate that story in this day and age in that way. So same thing with Resident Evil 3. You can make it 3 times, 4 times bigger. You can make this game humongous, and the things you can do. Resident Evil 3 introduced the making your own bullets and your ammunition and stuff like that. That's totally going to be in there, I'm sure. Get creative, do some other stuff, man. It's like sky's the limit. This might be the last remake that we get for Resident Evil. I'd love to see a Code Veronica remake, but I don't think they're going to touch it. I think this is the last remake we're getting for Resident Evil. Go balls out with this thing. Just knock it out of the park. Put every idea you've got, put it in there. So I'm excited. I hope you all are excited too. Thanks for checking out the video. If you liked it, subscribe, comment, share, hit the like button. Help a guy out. We're growing all the time. I love doing these little things, talking with you. I'm going to start doing some live streams where we just talk about this stuff. If you all are interested on that, you can jump in and give me your live comments and thoughts. You all are blowing it up in the comment section on these videos. I love talking with you all. I try to respond to everybody that I can. So keep them coming, Tell people that you think might be into this kind of stuff as well. Tell them to check me out. So until next time, I will catch you all later. Keep rocking, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care.